Okay, now we talk about another action in reference. We know that ampersand will give you a reference to the object, right? And in contrast, we should have an operation that could get you the value of the reference, which is dereference. Well, this operation is star. It's the same with C, with C++. Okay, now let's check out the starting code here. We have two structures, the ID and the student. The first thing we'll talk about is this function, deref_as function. It's something new. So it shows us how to use this star. Remember our earlier analogy, right? So a reference is like a link to your actual resume. And here this star will let you basically go from the link to the actual resume or actual value behind it. Now, let's do something interesting. We will remove the copy ability from student structure. And when we build again, this will just give us error in this dereferencing function. So what does this copy ability mean? It means that we will make a copy, deep copy. So we create another object which happens to have all the value being the same as the original one, but changing one value will not change another. So how is this related to dereferencing? Well, it turns out that dereferencing will not give you back the original object, but it will make a copy of the value and return it to you. So that's why when we remove the copy ability, it will just give us errors. Okay, now let's try it out in script. We have a bunch of code here. It looks a lot, but the logic is very simple. So we first create a student structure with ID 0, and then we print out its ID. Okay, now we have another student 2, which using our dereferencing function, and it will give us back the student 1's references, right? Okay, and also it will print its ID. So we can see that both these IDs are 0, which makes sense because dereferencing will give us a copy and you should have the same value. But here, now we will change the ID of one of them, of student 2, and then we print it again. So as you can see, the ID now becomes 1, but the original student 1's value is still 0. So this is what dereferencing is doing. It's giving us copy, and changing one value will not change another. Okay, now let's learn something else. Let's go to the change ID function, and instead of doing s.id equals new ID, we can do here star ampersand mutable s.id equals new ID. That's another way of writing this equation. So it looks fancy, and let me explain. We are familiar with ampersand mutable, right? So the ampersand mutable is giving us a mutable reference to the object ID in student structure S. And now we dereference it and assign it to a new ID object, new ID. So this is updating the value of ID in student structure S. Okay, wrap up. There are two ways to use dereference. The first one is when you put it on the left of the equation, you are basically updating the value. And the second one, when you use it as an expression like this one, you are making a copy of the original values. That's everything we have to say about referencing move. And see you in next video. Bye bye.